So we've gone and gotten the sap from our trees, and now we have to store the sap until it's time to boil. And we got a pretty low-tech way of storing sap. You can see there's a couple of 20-gallon plastic trash cans here, and as we get the sap, we just keep dumping it in there, dumping it in, until we know we got about 40 gallons in there, at which point we know we got enough to start boiling down to make about a gallon of syrup. Now, you're going to have all sorts of woolly boogers in there, so it's good to filter it a little bit at this stage, just to get the big coarse stuff out. And so once it's all stored here in the snowbank, I'm going to just use this bucket. I'm going to dip some out. And I went down to the hardware store this morning, and I found a 5-gallon bucket paint filter. Colby wants a little bit too. And that will actually filter all the coarse stuff out if there's any... Oh, Colby. Good thing we're going to boil it. Oh, and there's her brother Sherman. They're both getting in the show. So we're going to boil this down, so don't worry about dog germs. It's okay. Hi, Sherman. You'll notice that we keep things refrigerated. And again, we go as low-tech as we possibly can. And the way we keep it refrigerated is we just put these trash cans in a snowbank. We're running out of snowbanks very quickly, so we keep shoveling snow around these things, and it's good for a couple of days. Just so long as it stays cold at night and warm during the day, and we pack it in snow, we'll be all good. So next we're going to take our bucket of sap over to our boiler, and we'll show you what happens then. So this is our homemade sap boiler. This is about as low-tech as you can possibly get. I don't think we even have $100 into this whole thing. This is a boiler that was actually sitting out in our back 40. I don't know why it was there. I don't know. The boiler, imagine the boiler used to stand upright, and there were some doors. The boiler doors were there. So the way we converted this is we took the doors off, laid it down on its back, and I welded a couple of pipes on the bottom through which I run rods to keep the whole thing up off the ground. I also got this, this is a door off of a barrel stove kit. I think I got it from Northern Hydraulics. It wasn't that much. And then I welded up this stainless steel pan. Now, you may not have the technology to weld at home, but it's really not that hard, and it probably wouldn't cost you a whole lot to get someone else to do it. I also put off the boiler a little stem with a valve so that at the end of the day we can drain everything off without having to pick up the boiler. I also bought a thimble for the other end of the stove, and I just got one length of stovepipe on here right now, but sometimes we'll put 2 or 3 just to control the draft. And this we fire this with the junkiest wood we can possibly find. When we take down a hemlock tree or a spruce tree, we save all the limbs, and that's what we use to fire this this sap boiler. So this is low tech, but it works. And we do our initial boil here. We're going to take 40 gallons and we're going to get it down to about 2 gallons, at which point we'll take it into the house and finish it in the stove. And I'm going to show you that a little later. But just keep her kind of full as you can. Keep the wood going. You might have to open the door every so often, and I just pour a little sap in and keep her going. Probably in the next few years I'm going to build some warming shelves on the side so I can have little metal tubs with sap warming. So every time I pour sap in, it's not going in stone cold and stopping the boiling process. But this will, it's going to take us all day to get 40 gallons boiled down. We started this at 1 o'clock, and I think probably by 10 o'clock tonight we'll have it all done, finished and put in the jars. So that's pretty simple stuff. Low tech, low expense, and the syrup tastes as good as any you're ever going to buy on a store shelf. So we've done our initial boil down outside. I showed you the sap evaporator there in the last segment of this. And then we brought everything inside when we got 40 gallons boiled down to about 2 gallons. We were able to filter it coming out of that stem that I showed you on the boiling pan, and that took some more of the big chunks out, and it has been probably at least 4 hours right here in the kitchen boiling away in these 2 pots. So we've boiled it down to what we think is going to be a great consistency for syrup. If you ever wonder whether you have syrup or not, one of the tests I do is I will drip a little bit into a pan and let it cool off. And I can tell you that as I move this spoon around, it feels quite sticky. And that right there, pardon my fingers, but that right there is, oh yeah, it's ready. That's perfect. If you make it a little thin, it's not bad. If you overcook it, what's going to happen is it's going to start to boil up and over the pot. So you got to be really, really careful. The first couple of hours of the boil, not so much. You don't have to freak out about that. But as you get it right down to the maple sugar, you're going to want to slow the boil down. Keep testing it. Keep testing it. Don't walk away. Don't get distracted. Because if it boils up over the pot, it's going to make a big mess. And it could ultimately burn, and we don't want to have that happen either. So, so we have ours boiled down at this point. You can also see that we have these filters. Now these are made specifically for filtering out sap, and when it's really hot, you can, again, low tech, take a colander or a strainer and line it with one of these filters. Soak the filter first, ladle the syrup right into it, a little bit at a time, and then and you'll see it'll drip down through, and then we take what's in this pot and we pour it into a glass jar. This is your regular canning jar. This happens to be a ball jar. We happen to have a whole pile of new lids that we've just recently purchased that are appropriate for this size jar. And once we get the sap poured off into the jar, we'll put a lid on. We boil our lids to make sure they're really sterile. We'll put a lid on. We'll put the screw top on, and you should, in about an hour's time, see this lid suck down. And that way you know that your canning process was successful. In an ideal world, we also like to take these and put them in a boiling water bath for about 10 minutes. And then once we put them in a boiling water bath, we'll let them sit for about 10 minutes in the boiling water bath. And you can see that is about as crystal clear as you're going to get. That is absolutely beautiful. You don't have to filter the syrup. If you don't filter the syrup, what you're going to get on the bottom is you'll get a white film of substance called niter. And it's nothing more than the minerals and woolly boogers that you didn't filter out. And it won't kill you. It's fine. So that's it. That's maple syrup. And you know, one of the favorite things that we love to do when we've made maple syrup is to pour a little bit of hot maple syrup over snow from out in a snowbank. Oh my word, look at that. And this is our version of a snow cone here in Maine. Oh, baby. Look at that. It solidifies the minute it hits that snow. And then the greatest treat of spring. Oh my word. Oh. That is good. Oh, we live all year for this. So that's it. That's the soup to nuts of making your own homegrown maple syrup. Try it out. Send us a message. Tell us how it works. If you have any questions, you know where to find us. SchoonerMaryDay.com.